Okay, should be straight up 6 o'clock. Welcome everyone. This is our second meeting of the month, our evening meeting. Today is the 27th of April, 2015. Glad that you are here. We've got a full crowd, or almost a full crowd. We're going to begin right now. We'll stand, we'll have a prayer, we'll have a pledge of allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for an opportunity to meet to take care of county business. We ask for your blessing on every agenda item tonight, on every person that wishes to speak, regardless of their opinion, Lord. We welcome all, and we just pray that you would grant wisdom to this court to make decisions that match with your will. Lord, we just thank you for the opportunity to serve in this capacity, Lord, and we pray for strength and direction each and every day. Thank you for a mixture of the rain and the drier weather as we try to complete our road, and we just pray for that project, Lord, that you would bring it to a swift and suitable end. Be with each person as they leave and head home tonight. Bless their families. Bless those who are sick and not feeling well today for whatever reason or unable to be here. Lord, we just turn this meeting now over to you and ask that you would preside for us. For it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will begin with item 1, which is our time for public comments and or requests for information on non-agenda items in accordance with Section 551.042 of the Texas Open Meetings Act. Was there anyone that wanted to speak at this time versus on a particular issue? Looks like most of these would like to speak to a particular issue. Okay, if not, we'll move on, and I'll be aware that you've asked to speak when we get to your particular item. Go through there and see if there's anything other than the number 5. Item number 2, consider and possibly approve minutes from the April 13th regular meeting of Commissioners Court 2 weeks ago, 9 o'clock on a Monday morning.
Judge, I make a motion to accept the minutes.
Thank you. Commissioner Hinton makes that motion. Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor of approval of those minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and there are none. Item number 3, presentation by Mary Kay Dunay. Mary Kay, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us about your project you've been working on.
Judge, Commissioner Little, thank you for allowing me to come forward and speak to you this evening. Lately, we've had a lot of negative reports on law enforcement and our first responders. And so I thought we ought to do something because time stands for the people. So I think I'm not joking, not excuse me, this fits me. And I think I was talking to the judge, and we came up with the idea with Megan. So I went back to my neighborhood watch and the Tri-Lakes Volunteer Fire Department. And Sergeant Vane over there, who's been with us for 4 years, staying this long in our neighborhood watch project, and our wonderful commissioner. And I took the idea to them, and they thought it was a good idea, so we have pursued it. And through many meetings with Sergeant Vane, where I think he was ready to pull his hair out, we came up with an idea, brought it back down to the judge, and he thought it was a great idea. You all have copies of it. For those of you out here, it's a stick. You can put it on your front door. You can put it on your car. You can put it anywhere that it's visible. The idea behind it is that all proceeds will go to the memorial of our first responders who lost their lives serving the public in line of duty. And you may wonder, well, why? What's supporting that memorial? Right now, I went out there, it's full. We hope we don't have anybody else, but we may have to buy another stone. They have it fixed up very nicely, 2 benches, some roses. But we need to keep this going. And if we have excess money, Sergeant Vane came up with the idea that it be put in a separate fund to help, and I use Lady John Broussard. I went through that kind of a thing, and you have no idea what happens to you when this goes on. People come in, they take money away from you thought you had, etc. And sometimes we can help out in a situation like that. And I recommended that right now, I believe Steve Austin is taking care of the memorial. And when I went down to talk to him, he thought this was a good idea. And he had told me that we're $1,500 short right now. Now, I didn't get into anything with him because he had somebody there at the time. So what I would like is if you all will come to talk it over, and we would like the county to be behind us. I'm hoping the chamber will go ahead and buy a group and start selling them or handing them out. The banks, I've talked to several people, they're interested. But right now, until we get this thing going, we would like you to do it through the trial race and Lodge and Neighborhood Watch, so we get that money and give it back to the memorial as quick as possible. We want these locally, so we do believe in buying locally. So I ask for your support and any help that I can get from any of you. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
When will they be available?
Now.
Right now?
In my car.
In your car. Do you have any up here?
Pardon?
Do you have any here with you?
The downstairs in my car.
Okay.
I didn't know if you would ask for that.
Okay. Well, bring some up then if you'd like.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions? Here's what it looks like. Very nice design, very good idea, and appreciate you doing all the work on this. Okay. Yeah.
They sell for $6 a piece.
So if someone wants them, who do they contact? What's the phone number?
It's 903-577-7632. And if I don't answer, because right now I'm working early voting, leave a message and I'll get back with you. Or come down during lunchtime and we'll have a discussion.
577-7632.
Correct.
But hopefully quickly you'll see some of these available in some public places, like you said, maybe banks, Chamber of Commerce, something like that. Great.
Okay.
All right.
About how many do you want me to bring up? I've got them in packages of 10.
Well, I don't know. Why don't you bring enough that hopefully you'll sell out? I don't know. Just bring a few. At least let people touch and feel them and see what they look like, whether they buy tonight or not. Okay. Come on in, folks. Item number 4, consider and possibly approve a tax abatement agreement with Weds Foods. Charles Smith with our Industrial Development Corporation is here. Charlie, did you bring a guest with you? Looks like a friend of ours from Weds Foods has come with you.
That's correct, Judge, and I appreciate your
George, welcome, by the
to
way.
be here tonight. George Winchester is here with. George has been the plant manager at Weds Foods since they opened, and a great asset to our community. The item tonight, the company based in Chicago is interested in doing about $618,000 of new expansion in Mount Pleasant facility. This is not an expansion in the building itself, but in equipment and in new production line, and to expand their ability to offload the equipment, to offload the product off the railroad. Under the county's tax abatement line guidelines, they qualify for a 3-year abatement. And for those of you that haven't considered a tax abatement before, tax abatements it's real important to understand them. The tax abatements are applied to only the new value that is brought to the business. So in this case, $618,000. When we say there's a 3-year abatement, it is our policy, both the city and the county's policy, to step that abatement. In this case, for this level of investment, it's a 90% abatement for the first year, a 75% abatement for the second year, and a 45% abatement for the third year. So it only affects that new investment, and it's never 100%. In all cases, the city and the county receive more income than they were receiving prior to the new investment. So those are important things to understand. In addition to the new investment in this case, Newlywed Foods commits to creating 14 new full-time positions. And George will have something to say about that if you have any questions. But I want you to know that, and then the other indication is that when you talk about a tax abatement, in our case, we're only talking about the city and the county. It does not affect our schools, it does not affect our college or our hospital. And in this case, we are, I want you to know that the city approved it on March the 16th unanimously. And in the past, sometimes businesses are available to come up here and tell you what they're doing, and George wanted to because I think he's very happy to be in Mount Pleasant and in Titus County, and I thought y'all would want to hear that. So he's here, and you may have some questions, and I'll be happy to answer those questions, or George can answer either.
Thank you. Mr. Winchester, I heard you at the City Council meeting, and I want these guys to hear what you told us then.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to come here tonight. As Charlie indicated, you know, I've been here 8 years now, actually 9 years, because I was part of the project team, management team of building the plant and getting it operational. We did that in about 10 months, which was a record time. And since that time, we've been on a very good accelerated growth pattern because we're needing capacity. Our business has been growing almost 25% a year. We've been adding jobs. Our business has been successful, not just because of what we do here, but what we do globally as a company. As I mentioned before, Texas is the leading exporting state in the U.S., and we like to support that because we are now one of the leading exporting plants for Newlywed Foods. We export to Mexico, South America. We've sent product to China, not China, but to Vietnam. We have a Chicago plant that services China at times. And we have plants in those areas as well. We see emerging markets there, and we're going after them very aggressively. We continue to grow as a company, and that's great because we just opened up a new plant up by Cincinnati after a significant investment up there, just as they did here 8 years ago. And as we have 28 plants around the world, and we all compete for financing to help support our projects, because the same project I'm doing, we have 2 other plants doing a very similar project for expanding the business. What helps me get the funding first is the support that I've gotten from Mount Pleasant and Titus County, because we are the only plant within our company to be able to get that kind of support from any of their municipal locations. In fact, our executive vice president met with former Governor Rick Perry about a year or so ago in Chicago when the governor was up there recruiting for more business. And the letter he sent to him, which I copied to Charlie, was that he only wished that many of the other locations were as business friendly as Texas and Titus County and Mount Pleasant have been for us. As Charlie mentioned, we're already underway with our project. We've already put purchase orders out for about $680,000 now, and we hope to be operational by the end of June. And with most of the project, the rail unloading project is to be determined yet. It's already approved, but we don't have a timeline when it's going to be operational. But when we're fully operational, we do expect to add 14 new full-time positions, which will get us up over the 150 employee mark.
For those of us that may have forgotten over the years exactly what you do, a lot of folks wonder what's going on in those orange silos over there. Tell us again what you're involved in specifically at this location.
Sure, would be glad to. We are a custom ingredient manufacturer. You've probably eaten something that we make every day. We work with all the restaurant chains, all the major food processors such as Pilgrim's, Tyson Foods, another company called McCain Foods, which you may not be familiar with. They do a lot of snack products, French fries and things like that. We are in every chicken product that McDonald's makes, and we are a very large supplier for them around the world. We do all the crunchy coating things, like if you're having Sonic onion rings, that's our coatings on there. Chicken nuggets, chicken boneless wings, anything like that, we are part of that. We do fajita seasonings, chili seasonings, gravy mixes, sauces, glazes, marinades, anything like that that will help the food industry make great tasting products. On our corporate board or corporate staff, we have a number of chefs who are always creating new projects, new products, new flavor profiles. So if you've ever watched the Food Channel and you see somebody ever comment on what panko is as an ingredient, people ask, we're the world's largest maker of panko, which is Japanese-style breadcrumbs. We do stuffing crumbs, croutons, anything that you probably eat with your meal, we probably have something we've had a hand in.
What's the origin of the Newlyweds name, and what was the first product this company was involved in?
We made, back in 1932, the founder of our company, whose name was Paul Angel, developed an ice cream cake roll. It looks like a jelly roll, but it was cake and ice cream. And he said, this is the official marriage or wedding of cake and ice cream. They actually have a marriage license from the city of Chicago hanging in the corporate room for the cake and ice cream. So that was our first product we made. We make, here in Mount Pleasant, close to 1,000 different products.
Great. Thank you for being here. Commissioners, any comments, questions?
I don't know if you can give me an answer to this or not, but because of this adding on and doing, are you expecting new jobs created?
Well, as I mentioned, we're expecting to create about 14 new jobs.
14.
Okay.
Brings your total to what?
About 156, should be about 156.
Right. Anyone else?
Nothing good.
Appreciate you being here.
Thank you for this opportunity.
I gladly make the motion that we grant this abatement.
Motion by Commissioner Riddle that we approve this tax abatement for Newlyweds Foods. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There are none. Charlie, thank you. Mr. Winchester, thank you. Item number 5, consider and possibly approve the addition of Texas Department of Motor Vehicles child safety fee related to vehicle registration fees. I think our hot topic for the evening, and we'll have a variety of comments on this, and I've got a variety of speakers. I have no idea what your stance is on some of these, so I'm just going to start at the top here. Let me just, since I'm the judge, I can make the first comment. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I've just jotted down some notes here, but I want you to know a little bit quickly about the background of this. There's a couple of folks called me today that didn't have their facts straight, but when I put this on the agenda, I had previously met Dan Schmeling. Dan, wave your hand out there. Dan and I met in the lobby of the chiropractor's office, as I recall, and he said, you know what, I'd like to come by and meet you and tell you about a topic and an idea that I've got. I had no idea at the time what that was, but Dan soon emailed me and we set up a meeting. On April 3rd, Dan, along with Imelda Tatch, who is the executive director for the Child Advocacy Board, met with me in my office. And I'm not sure who, Dan or Imelda, contacted my wife and said, Judy, I think you might want to be here at this meeting. Judy's a good fundraiser. She's always looking for opportunities for Titus County Cares, and so she attended that meeting as well. At that April 3rd meeting, Ms. Tatch introduced me to the child safety fee as an optional add-on fee to our car registration, boat registration, vehicle registration fees. It could be up to $1.50 per transaction, or any dollar amount in there from a penny on up based on the size of our county. I explained to her that this would be a decision for the Commissioner's Court. They asked to be placed on the April 13th agenda. Many of you heard their presentation a couple of weeks ago, and you heard Jennifer Lyde with Titus County Cares. I'm giving you a little of this background so that you understand the origin and the motivation behind it. No hidden agendas here. I would imagine everyone in this room appreciates the work that these organizations that help needy kids here in Titus County. And for those of you that are against this additional fee, I believe I clearly understand your principles and I respect those. For those of you that support it, I understand your principles as well. I've spent a good bit of time considering this issue. And I'm sure this isn't the first time, nor will it be the last time, that the court will have to consider something that may have a charitable element to it, but that is clearly what we have right here, and you're going to hear a variety of comments. I would ask that you give everyone equal time and listen to their position because they are passionate about it. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask that you would limit your comments to about 3 minutes if everybody thinks that that is fair. I'm going to start with Tony Gassino. Tony, if you'd like to come on up to the mic.
Thank you. I just wanted to make a brief comment about the fact that as I went to the registration today on my vehicle, found out that not only do I have to have my car inspected, now I have to have my trailers inspected, and that's another fee. So that was a hidden fee that was added on by the state. I'm very generous with my money. I can't go to any grocery store or any store in Mount Pleasant that has a need for something. I donate. I do have a problem with the fact that we're going to add a fee to our license plate. I know it's legal, but to me, if it's forced, it's a tax. And we found that at national level. When Obamacare came out, the only way it was legal was because the court determined there were taxes. All these little fees weren't fees, they're taxes. And I think that people are so generous in this community that they give beyond. But I don't like the idea of having a mandatory fee added to a license. I just consider that a tax. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tony. Jeffrey Crabb. Welcome, Jeffrey.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Jeffrey Crabb. Speaking as a citizen, business person in Titus County, and as a Titus County Cares board member, I support the addition of the fee personally and along with the rest of the board. When I think about it from the perspective of investment in the county, there's a lot of misconceptions about Titus County Cares, that it's already funded by government grants, but it's not. It's funded by citizens of the county that are very generous, just like the previous speaker commented. But when we considered this fee, there was some discussion at the board meeting last week just to decide if all the board was in agreement. And when we considered the topic, we all came to agreement that we should support it, because essentially we know how far we can go with a dollar. We know what the dollar can accomplish in the county. And the Food for Kids program that this fee would go to support is a perfect example of that, which I think Casey's going to explain a little further. That program isn't just putting food in the stomachs of the kids. It's investing in their future through education, in the sense of many teachers across our county will attest to the children learn better when their bellies have food in them. They do. There's studies upon studies, and like I said, teachers all over the county that will attest to that have watched this program work. So as when they have food in their bellies, they learn better, they go further in their education, and when they go further in their education, their chances of overcoming the poverty line, their chances of living above poverty for the rest of their lives become much greater. The Department of Justice has published some studies on the correlation between education level and their likelihood of incarceration throughout their lives, and they say that 60% of inmates in the system today read at a 4th grade reading level or lower. Well, that same 60% is largely coming from they are living at or below the poverty line. And so we can conclude pretty easily that, hey, if we keep these kids in school longer, teach them where they go further in their education, their likelihood of overcoming poverty is much greater, which is very solutions focused. And I don't know, I'm passionate about it from the perspective of the way I manage my business every day is on an investment basis. I don't spend a dollar that I'm not looking towards the outcome of it. And so I would just ask that you all consider it as an investment in the county more than anything, in that as these kids grow up, it can positively impact the county for generations to come. Titus County Cares is not just a freebie handout program. We're constantly looking for solutions, and the program that these fees would go towards are definitely a solution. So, thank you all for your consideration.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Casey Homer. Welcome.
Thank you all very much for allowing me to speak. My name is Casey Homer, and I serve as the Vice President of the Board for Titus County Cares. I'm also an educator for the past 15 years. As an educator for more than 5 school districts, I've learned a few things, one of which is that there are some things that we cannot control. I can control, however, if my kids eat or not by keeping a cabinet full of food in my room, which every teacher does. I also keep changes of clothes, amongst other things. What we'd be doing by adding the up to $1.50 fee, simply feeding kids over the weekend. I am the student council advisor for, I've done it for 5 different school districts, most of which my kids will bring food to give to other kids during the weekend, because that's when most kids don't have something to eat. We have over 4,000 kids in our county that go without a meal probably over the weekend. The last meal that they eat is probably on Friday at noon at school, and they don't eat again until Monday morning. It is extremely, extremely hard to educate a child that has not eaten, because they are restless, they have other things on their mind, most of all survival. So with this fee that we would like to see put on the registration, it would be very beneficial to our kids. We are very blessed to have an opportunity to do this. I know most places do not. It is very wise for us to invest in our kids, because I think we can all agree that we all want educated kids. And hungry kids are hard to educate. So each backpack each week is packed by mainly students in our county to go to students in our county. There are, like I said, 4,000 kids that are on free lunch. We package at least 2,000 backpacks as our goal. We are right now servicing 1,300 kids. We are looking for other ways to fund this program. It's $3 a backpack. 1,300 backpacks go out every week. There are 37 weeks in the school year that we do feed kids over the weekend, for a total of about $202,000. So that's what we try to fund through the generosity of citizens in Titus County to do something like this. So to know that we could simply have this fee put on the license plate of the citizens of this town would be a simple solution to end this problem. I think our students that receive these backpacks every week will agree with you that they would give $1 to know that they could eat during the weekend and be fed and nourished when they come to school on Monday morning. So, I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Cassie.
Thank you.
Sue Evenwell.
Good evening, Commissioners. I know you know pretty much how I feel about this particular issue, and it has nothing to do with the agencies that are requesting the fee. I have a great deal of respect, in fact, for the Child Advocacy Center and Titus County Cares. They have a wonderful mission, and they are doing great work in our community. My issue is, and it's very noble what we're talking about, my issue is the role of government in all of this. As I understand government, which incidentally is not a profit center, it is not a business. The way the government has any money to spend on anything is because of taxpayers. And the role of government isn't to spend the money that taxpayers give or coerced into giving through a fee or tax or however you're going to explain it. It's not the role of government to provide money or funding for charities. I've donated personally, by choice, to both of these organizations. I think they're doing good work. It's great. But I don't see the role of government, and especially Titus County government, funding the organizations, because it is not the role of government. And why am I making a big deal about it? Well, it is a tax, no matter what you call it. In our particular county of 32,000 people are already taxed enough. If you go on the Texas Bond Review Board site, you will add up all the taxing entities, and we are close to $500 million in taxing or obligations, financial obligations. That's distributed between 32,000 people. I think we're taxed enough, and I would just ask you to kind of consider how else we could fund these things through charitable donations rather than putting it on the taxpayer in terms of a vehicle registration fee.
Thank you, Sue. Email attached.
I am speaking for, my name is INVOCATION. I'm speaking for the Northeast Texas Child Advocacy Center. And I would just like to say thank you. I am in favor, of course, of the child safety fee, and I would ask that you would consider that. The reason is that, yes, we do receive some grants, and they're very restrictive on what we can spend it for, so we rely heavily on donations, county funding, United Way, those kind of organizations that give to us what they can when they can. And so we offer, all of our services that we offer, we pride ourselves on being able to offer those services to, I'm sorry.
I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. On being able to offer all of the services we offer at no cost to the families themselves. And we feel that any one of these families, after receiving these services, would gladly give $1.50 for the make sure that service, or for that service, but we don't charge anything for the services that we offer, including our Angel Tree program that serves all of the children that come through the center have been allowed, or offered to be on the Angel Tree. Last year we served 14 families from Titus County, which was 36 children, because we served not only the child that was interviewed, but the siblings that live in the home with the child. The cost for interviewing, someone asked me to put this together not too long ago, and I was amazed. The cost for an interview and the follow-up care is $1,157. We saw 32 children in Titus County last year. That's about $37,000. Statistics will tell us that 1 in 4 boys, 1 in 4 girls, 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused by the time they're 18 years old. This was really hard for me when I realized this after working there for so long. When I go to a school event and watch for my grandchildren, and I see all those children, and I think those numbers. The statistics also tell us that today in the state of Texas, 185 children have been abused. And the year, there are 65,000 victims of abuse were confirmed. In the last year, the number of children served by a child advocacy center, 73% of those were sexual abuse cases. 95% of them knew their perpetrator. And maybe the most heartbreaking part of all of that is that 26% of those children were not even old enough to go to kindergarten. So how does that work for the Titus County? What does that mean to you? Well, last year I said we saw 32. We interviewed 32 children, 24 girls, 8 boys, 6 were under 5, 26 to 12, 6 13 to 17. All of them knew their perpetrators. 6 were a biological parent, 7 stepdads, one was mom's boyfriend, 4 others were a relative, and 7 were known but not a relative. 4 of those perpetrators were juveniles, because this is a cycle. When children are abused, they act out, and other children often, not always, but happens. And so we don't treat those juveniles. We often will interview those children as well, because they've probably been abused as well. No one wants to think about child abuse happening in their community, especially in the towns, the small towns like in the Northeast Texas area. But it happens, and aren't you glad? Isn't it a comfort to know that when it happens, that there is a group of a multidisciplinary team that works together, caring people put together to work for the justice of those children and their non-offending family members, to reduce the trauma that they've already suffered, so much trauma, to reduce that. We can't make what happened go away, but we can strive to keep it from continuing, and with the support, and we can be there as they need us. Long after law enforcement and CPS have completed their portion, we can continue offering family advocacy services, prevention, intervention services, and if we have the continued support of situations of this small fee, I understand completely what they're saying, but it is a small fee, and like I said, I think that the families that we've served and that have been served, those children that have been fed, those that are hungry over the weekend, would gladly give $1.50 to continue that service. And with continued support like this, maybe you can help us to fulfill our mission of breaking the cycle of abuse one child at a time. I apologize for my voice. I don't know where it went. Thank you.
Thank you, Imelda. Dana Applewhite.
Any notes, but
that's
I'm
all right.
just going to let you know. Everybody has a passion, and Titus County Cares is a wonderful group, and I applaud the director, the employees, and all the volunteers that helped us, because without them, these children would not be taken care of. But I look at this on the fact that you've got elderly, you've got different groups, you've got the Heart Association, the Cancer Society, you've got all these different places, and people have, that could be their passion. And I didn't look up what a fee was, but I actually did look up to see what a tax was. And the definition of a tax is a charge usually of money imposed by authority, and you're all under this authority, on persons or property for public purposes. So we can call this a fee, but I see it as a tax. And I just, I feel like that if y'all are passionate enough about this, that this is what you want to do, I think that you also need to be passionate enough to pick up the phone and call your family and your friends and your colleagues and ask for donations. You know, I've lived in Titus County and was born and raised here. I have never once had a phone call asking me to give any money to Titus County Cares. I would. You know, I'll say it right now, I will. Because I also have a passion for those children. I have children. But I have a passion for other things too. I mean, you know, there's people that have, and if this was going towards something else, those people would be here. If this could be going towards cancer, those people would be here with their passion saying, hey, I've had a family member that died of cancer. Or if it was going towards, you know, organ donation, it would be the same thing. And that's what I'm saying. So even if later on it comes up and you go, okay, now we can do this fee on this for the elderly. Are we going to do that also? Because this can, you know, I mean, everybody has a passion. And this has nothing to do or downgrade Titus County Cares, because I think they're great. But I just think it would be a tax write-off. I think we could all work together and raise the money for this group and not tax every individual in Titus County. I mean, we're even taxing those people that can't afford to feed their children also. So that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you, Dana. Chris Basham.
Good evening. I'm a Titus County taxpayer. I'm one of those 32,000 taxpayers that are out there. I also believe that we live in a civilized and democratic society, and that we're kind of hung up on this word of taxes. I have to agree with a lot of the folks that have been said here. As that civilized and democratic society, I believe that our taxes are in place because we, as the taxpayers, voted to have those taxes. And the reason that we have government is so that that government can use those taxes on things that we want taken care of and need taken care of. So it's not the government ruling us, and that seems to be the big discord here, is that the government's telling us what to do, when in fact we're supposed to be telling the government what we want them to do. And this is a choice. The choices that we make is what those taxes are for, when they're used, and how they're used. We choose. The government and its elected officials are so elected and chosen to fulfill the protection and expansion of every one of our rights and beliefs. I see this as an issue of choice of this community as to whether or not to spend this on the kids. I worked 3 years at a children's home in North Louisiana where we took care of 70 kids, and I understand the value of of that little extra step, just that little extra chance they got. And I fully believe that these kids are hungry and they're not learning and getting educated. All we're going to end up with is kids are going to be a problem in society later. I'm just asking that this be considered as not so much as it just a tax, but are we, if it is a tax, and I don't care what you call it, are we doing it for the right reasons? And is it the thing that we want our government to represent and we as a society to develop? So I'm just saying it's a good cause. I would support it. I would pay it. And I am a taxpayer, but I'm only one of 32,000, so there's another 31,999 of them out there that would have a choice too. But I'm just saying that if it is the opinion of this community that this is a good cause, I think it should be supported.
Thank you, Chris. All right, that's all the folks that had signed up to speak. Just as a reminder or a clarification, we're not here tonight to decide that if you were to assess this fee, how it would be allocated. That's not, you've heard some of the entities that are interested in this. We have numerous entities that would be eligible according to the statute to receive some of this money, but we're not here to decide that. Your decision tonight is simply, if you are ready, to decide whether or not you want to implement some, none, or all of that up to $1.50 per registration. And just as a reminder, there's about 30,000 registrations that occur annually. A 50-cent addition would result in $15,000. $1 would result in $30,000, and $1.50 would be about $45,000 that could be allocated. So there are clearly two sides to this, as you've heard tonight. Commissioners, it ultimately falls on your shoulders, and so I will entertain a motion if and when you are ready.
Well, I make a motion that we don't, this is a tax. It ceases to be a charity when you force people. There's people very well off. It's a hard thing for them to come up. They like to have a little lunch money. For us to take it to somebody and then call it charity. And then the people in these charities, like Titus County Cares, according to their tax for 2013, is 6 people gets compensation. So if you get paid, and some of this money, all your expenses go to these charities. How many of these other charities have a payroll? And I have a problem. I think Mr. Crabb, I believe, is Larry Lawrence's son-in-law. Is that true? I think. And then Mr. Basham is all associated with you. You're associated with Titus County Cares, and I don't think you should recuse yourself from this vote on this thing. This is my motion that we.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Riddle that we not elect to implement any of this child safety fee.
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of not doing anything in the way of additional fees, say aye.
Aye.
3-2, because I'm going to vote aye, and Commissioner Fields, how do you vote? Before I counted you.
No, I'm not.
Okay. So you're along with that?
No.
Okay.
I am with doing it.
Okay. I have 3 that vote for no. I'm voting yes. I would like to see us implement it. I was going to suggest $1, and so we are outvoted 3-2, and that takes care of that vote. Thank you, everyone, for presenting a calm, well thought out argument. All right, we will move on to item number 6. And for those of you that are done here and would like to leave, we're very casual here. You may depart at any time that you would like. Ms. Dunay? Oh yeah, don't forget, if Mary Kay Dunay may have some of these stickers here available. You want to? Well, you can leave some here with me. I'll be glad to collect money from you, or if any of these folks leave and want to do anything in the way of buying a sticker. Item number 6, consider and possibly approve modifications to the Ratliff building, including tile and windows. Chris Basham is here. Is Judy Cook not here tonight?
No, I checked with her just before the thing. She went home sick today.
Judge, I was going to say, I got a chance to talk to her today, and she went to the doctor this
She had to go to the
morning.
doctor.
She is-
Okay. All right, well then, Chris, I'll let you speak for Judy.
What's in front of you are some options. They're modification requests. These are coming from the user and from the builder. Judy Cook and her staff had several suggestions after they got on there, and we've been working on it. We're within 30 days, 30, 40 days of being finished. So now is the time. I said, if we're going to do anything else, we needed to get it on the Commissioner's Court tonight. So we got the prices together over the weekend from Richard Jones. In the process of doing that, Richard Jones had suggested some other things since they were looking at doing some upgrades. I have no recommendation is to go for or against any of this stuff here. I'm just presenting it because Judy was going to present it tonight, and I will press it forward however y'all want to go with it. So this is kind of presented as a grocery list. The only thing I will say, the items that are bolded on there are things that probably need to be done. They have to be done, and they're the lower cost items. But you can see the other things in there, and we can take them one by one. If you want me to walk down through them and explain each one of them. Once you decide which one of these you want to do, all of them or none of them, then we'll go forward with that as far as what we're going to do over there. But we just needed to get some kind of decision this evening so we can go ahead and get stuff ordered and get finalized.
I think it's important you go over each one of these items for these guys, because I needed to hear about it, and my opinions may vary on some of these. But yeah, tell them, elaborate on these if you would.
The number one was a pass-through window in the wall for the Elections Administration. The way they operated before is anybody who was coming in there would actually go into their office, and they felt like it might be a security concern, wanted to be able to close the door and have people not actually come into their office, be able to deal with them. There is a foyer area that's over there right now, and so we would just cut a window in there and put a window so they could actually come up to their door, talk to them without actually having to go into their office. It's relatively inexpensive. It's $600, and we have already got the hole cut over there, so we just put glass in it and frame it out. That's number one.
Does that allow Leonard and all of his staff to be behind locked doors?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so nobody is outside of this door with the pass-through on it? Okay.
That's kind of why they wanted to put it in there, because the way it was working before is people would just come into the offices. And I didn't know it was a problem until we got over there and we were looking at where all the doors, when the way the doors were swinging, and they came over and suggested could we put a window in. And I said I'd get a price on it. So, number two, in an effort to try to cut down on cost, because we knew there were some things coming, we had two pocket doors that were going into where the voting machines go. They don't really need to have doors because that room is only used during voting. So we deleted the pocket doors and readjusted some door heights, and that actually is a savings of $250. So that's a refund that would come back under that item. I would recommend that just because it's return cost. Number three, I think I told you last time when we were over there, when we started doing the demolition, we found a bunch of walls that were not even connected at the roof, and they were done out of steel studs, and we have cabinets going on those walls, so those walls had to be rebuilt. They were also on the bathroom walls, the break room walls. The cost to redo all of that and wrap the columns in the hallways is $2,050. And that work has been done. So if we go not to fund that, I will have to go see if I can find some reductions on something else over there. So it had to be done. The walls would not stand up unless we rebuilt them. Remove and replace the bathroom floor tile. If you look at item number 11 down there, the floor tile upgrade, Judy picked out a different tile than what we had bid on that they had selected earlier. The price on it was about $1 more per tile than what we had in there. We went and negotiated with Home Depot and got some discounts, and we actually got the price of the new tile less, or right at the same price. It was $1.50 a square foot, at the same price of what we had the original tile in. So they're getting an upgrade in the tile at no charge. But what Judy also wanted was to go ahead and replace the tile in the bathroom. We were not replacing that in the beginning, and it wasn't going to match anyway, and it breaks right at the door. But in the interest of upgrading everything, she asked that we could ask the court commissioners if we could go ahead and upgrade the tile in the bathroom. Upgrading the tile in the bathroom means you got to take out the old tile. There's a cost of that. Put in the new tile. We got to take out the toilets and put new seating rings in there, wax rings. So that's included in that cost of $1,360. This number 5, we added a new window over there that y'all already approved and it's already put in. When we put that window in, we put it. It's a more recent, modern window. It is double glazed, which means it has 2 pieces of glass. It's more energy efficient. It's also a slider, so they can open it up and get like today, you can open it up and get the nice area and not have to run the air conditioning. Judy had asked that we had 2 windows that we weren't replacing because when we started this project, my charter was to minimize the cost across the board as much as we could. So the windows are in good shape, they're not broken or anything, they are single glazed. So Judy asked if y'all would consider replacing the windows. She's got 2 in her area. I would suggest that if you're going to replace those 2 for the purposes of energy efficiency and actually egress too, because once you got a sliding window that's open, if you had a fire situation, people could exit out this. But if you're going to do it for the 2 that's in Judy's area, there's 5 more in the elections administration. So the price here could be, it's $625 each. 2 in Judy's area would be 2 times that. If you did all of the building, the rest of them that are over there, it'd be 7, which is the $43.75. And they can be done individually or in any numbers that you want them done in. That's the price that we've got to replace, take out the other window and put it back in. And that needs to be done. That's the reason it's on the agenda now is because we're at the point right now where we're finishing out window sills and stuff. And if we're going to change out the windows, we need to do that before we put window sills in.
Can I ask you something about that? Does that, if one of those windows were to break, do you have to yank out the entire frame and tear up the wall inside or outside?
Well, you could replace the glass. Right now they're single glazed though, so we could replace the glass.
You couldn't replace it within the existing frame with double pane glass at a cheaper price?
No, you couldn't, because the frame is not built for double glaze, it's only built for single.
Okay.
We even looked at the possibility of adding another piece of glass on the outside, which is not as energy efficient. And it would actually cause a probably glazing problem because it wouldn't be sealed, hermetically sealed, and you start to get some sweating inside it, although it would make it more energy efficient. So. Number 6, when we were reworking the air conditioning over there, they had, the previous installer had put a gas line running through the return air. We moved it. And I just told them to go ahead and move it because we don't need a gas leak in the return air. So they moved it out. It was in the wrong place to begin with. We didn't know it until we took out the air conditioning. So moving that gas line is $600. And quite frankly, that's already occurred. So it had to be done to get the thing going. Number 7, the workstations were designed to be at 42 inches. They're raising them up so they're counter height. And when they were originally designed and approved, they had 42 inches in the front on the right side and 32 inches on the lower side. We are in the process of building a sample unit, which is what we said we were going to do, and the ladies all suggested they want it all at 42 inches. So we're raising it all up to 42 inches instead of the drop down like we had originally designed. That adds a cost of $1,200, and Noriega Cabinets is the one that's working on that. That's where that price came from on that. The number 8 is a new office. They wanted to add one more office. We were just going to put a workstation, actually just a desk, and after more discussions on it, they decided they need a little bit more security for this particular position, where they do the cash counting and the numerical stuff. And so we took an area that was going to be document storage and display, and are converting it, with your approval, it gets converted into an office. And this cost basically builds in a 7x7 space, built-in desk and cabinets for a new office for that position for the tax office over there. 9A and 9B, or the original plan was to reuse the existing 2x4 lights that were over there. And there were actually, I think, 45 or 46 lights. We actually needed 27 of them, so we were going to pick and choose from the existing lights that were over there to get 27 of the best lights to just reinstall in the suspended ceiling. This is a recommendation by the builder. Those lights over there are T12s. The new thing, if we were building new and putting new all in, they would be T8s, which are more energy efficient. He got a price on his own from the electrician to replace the lights with T8s. That is $2,540. That is a good price for if you want to replace the lights. He also went and got the price for LED lights, which is what we put in adult probation, which are higher grade lights, more energy efficient. That costs us substantially more. And so that's an option again. We can reuse the existing lights over there. But I think that the builder is just, everything is going in new over there, and he would personally prefer to see them all new, and it would be more energy efficient. It's up to y'all. I mean, I can do it either way. The existing lights will go back in over there if you want to put them back in. We got an upgrade on the granite countertops too. We were going in with solid surface. There's an anomaly going on right now in the market, and has been for a couple of years right now, that granite can be had really, really inexpensively, and we're actually getting granite countertops over there for less than we would have solid surface. So it's quite a bit of an upgrade. It's going to look really, really nice. It's the same granite that we used over in the MPISD administration building, if you've been in there. It's a black, green, brown, dark granite. It's really pretty, really expensive looking, but it's not expensive. And in this case, it's no charge, because we already had it in there in a price that would cover the solid surface. Told you about the floor tile upgrade. And then the last thing, we were going to reuse the existing cabinet and sink over there in the break room that was used just for elections administration. The builder had suggested getting a price, which you see here at $2,500, to put new cabinets and sink in the break room over there, because it's servicing a lot more people. Again, in the original charter, we were trying to keep the cost down over there, so that was not included in there to replace the break room cabinets and stuff. It's a prefab unit that's in there right now with a Formica countertop and a stainless steel sink. It can be cleaned up and reused, but again, it was a request that was gone in there, and I offer these to you guys for y'all to make your decision on what y'all want to do, and I'll implement it once y'all tell me which ones you want to do and don't want to do.
How many light fixtures was that?
I think it was 27.
Okay.
It's about $100 a light.
That's all the T8s?
That's all T8s.
All T8s.
That's the new would be T8s.
The new, yeah.
What would you estimate the payback to be on the efficiency of those windows?
I figured you were going to ask me on the lights, because the lights on the payback on the lights is probably 3 to 4 years. They do pay for themselves back pretty quick. On the windows, it's probably a little longer. I didn't do the actual calculations. I would estimate, from having done this before, in the neighborhood of 6 to 7 years.
Well, the one concern that I'd heard about that is there not being a door on that other end of the registration.
Be the east side.
The east side.
Northeast side.
Of the door not being there. If we had a window there, with at least they could get out. If there was a fire or something, somebody could get out the window. If it was in between there.
We do have that window.
Yeah, that window's been put in.
That one has been put in.
Yeah, that's the one new one.
That's the one.
Is it a slider?
It is a slider.
Okay, so you've got that safety issue there taken care of.
And we actually got a good price. That price on those windows is a good price.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we put in on the new one, so he got a good price on those.
So what you're looking at here, if we change the light, the T12s is what we've got in there now.
T12s is what you got in there right now.
You could replace them with the T8s or
the LEDs, and if you're interested in saving money, I would go with just the T8s. That's the standard. LEDs is the next generation.
Okay.
I mean, if you're asking for my recommendations, I would not do that one.
Was there any savings from moving that additional office area from that back northwest corner? Eliminating those cabinets didn't yield us any substantial savings?
Yeah, it was, and it's included in that $3,000.
It's netted against that, so the net additional is $3,000.
Yeah, there is a reduction for where we had it to put it here, and it was like $1,000. So I guess I should have listed that out separately, but they go together. So.
That's a fairly elaborate set of cabinets in that office then.
Well, we're basically building the desk, the return, floor-to-ceiling cabinets, and storage cabinets for papers above her.
Did we have that elaborate setup where she was going to be originally?
No.
Have you looked at the workstation moving everything to 42 inches? That means they're going to be typing in their computers at a 42-inch height? That seems awkward.
I brought that up to them, and they're perfectly comfortable with it. As a fallback, though, I just talked with the cabinet guy today, and we're still going to build a prototype. We're going to build one, set it in place over there, have them come over, sit in a chair, and kind of play with it, make sure they're still happy with it. I mean, because it was originally designed so they had a lower cabinet over here, so they put their purse and some of the other stuff. They didn't want the same counter level as people that were checking in. Now they want to raise this up. So that's their choice. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but I don't operate over there every day, and they do, so it's really their choice.
Okay.
But we will build one so they can touch it, feel it, make sure we got everything before we build 9 of them.
Let me ask you this. Is there going to be a platform out in front where the public will be, where they can
There is.
fill out
It's 24
checks
inches
or whatever?
wide and stick out 8 inches from the glass for check writing or
Whatever they...
24 inches wide, one at each station, not running the full.
No, just on the outside where the people are, where the customers are, at each one of the stations, there's a 24-inch wide, 8-inch deep space where you can write checks or paperwork and sign papers.
The bold items are not optional. That's already been spent.
Correct.
Down here on this 9A, is that 3,000? Is that number 8 or is that number 9A?
I'm sorry, I'm here with the train.
That's 3,000 is number 8. That's additional office
Right.
cabinetry.
9A is the 2540 for the lights.
If you go with the T8, you're looking at 2540.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, I know from what I've heard Judy say is over there where they're at now, they have laminate countertops. She'd be just as happy with the laminate countertops as she would with the granite.
Correct.
So what would
We're getting the granite for the same price as the laminate. The laminate is a lot more labor. You've got to come back in and put in the plywood, and then you got to glue it all down. You got to come back and trim it all up. You got to cut all the pieces. The granite goes in as one solid piece on a frame. So, and the granite's more durable. It'll last longer, and actually look nicer. And they picked out the granite already. We already brought them samples of the granite, and we had that discussion again about granite versus Formica versus solid surface, and they all like granite. We had 8 votes for one color and 1 vote for another color. So 8-1.
We'll have about $400,000 in this building. There's about 23,000 you got here.
It's about 16 if you don't do the LED lights. If you did everything on this list, it comes out to about 16,000.
16. Must have misadded.
I can add it up.
but the bold?
I say 6.
Once again, the bold.
600 minus 250.
What's in the bold's already been
2050 plus 1360 plus.
You know, I went to school last week, construction purchasing, and they cannot believe that we'd have an architect and a construction manager the same person. The whole conflict is to make sure that the architect makes sure the construction manager is doing the same thing. And engineers. They shouldn't be the same person. They said they think it, I don't believe government code would allow it, but they say it just shouldn't be done. So this is an example. We'll get another 12%. So we'll run this bill up quite a bit. We'll be well over that 100,000 that we've paid for these about $800,000, $900,000 worth of remodeling we've done.
We'll be grateful to have your guidance on the next project for sure. I'm glad that you went to that school. That will help have somebody amongst us that's versed in this. Well, I'm just looking at I'm not in favor of all these. I'm looking at trying to decide which ones I can live with, which ones I can do without. I wish Judy was here to address the real need on each of these.
You know, we bought this building, we bought this property for future growth. We're moving them over there because of the problems that's in the Old Garrity Bank over there. We changed over to the annex. To remodel the annex was around, we paid $300,000 for it, and we spent about $450,000 on it, which is a $750,000 investment in buying it and remodeling it. You know, you go and build a building like that, you're probably looking at $6, $7, $8 million. We're moving them over there because we've got to, in future, we have got to secure where our courtrooms are. Because at some point in time, if we don't, something happens over there and you've got a lot of people in there that really doesn't need to be in there because it's for court and trials are going on and things of this nature. So we're trying to plan ahead and we're trying to do things that will make it safe for people, and I think this will make it safe for people. But we don't need to shortcut this building over here because that's going to be there a long time, and the people working in there is going to be a long time. And I like to, you know, I can't see us, you know, granite, if it was 2 or 3 times, yeah, we wouldn't have to have granite. But when you're getting granite at the price that you're getting, it's not any difference in it. As far as I'm concerned, the T8 is standard. That's what we can use. And the rest of these things, I think we need to do them and do it right when we do it. We don't need to halfway do it.
The total of everything, not including the LED lights, is $20,188.
Well, I need to remind Mr. Fields that when this first started, because of the security of the courtroom, after the shootings in Kaufman, we needed security for the courts. So we started all these projects. And I said, and you're going to check the minutes, that's not on the budget. We shouldn't be doing these things. So we declared, somehow, we got the county clerk to say, county attorney to say this was an emergency. It's been a year and a half, $900,000 yet. We don't even have build a courtroom with more security. We haven't secured the courtroom one iota. So to peddle that story is absolutely not true. We violated the law by not having an emergency. As far as I'm concerned, it wasn't on the budget and it wasn't budgeted for, and I think it's just pitiful that we've taken the taxpayers' money and just blown it away, and we still don't have a courtroom. The whole intent of this remodeling process was what it was, and how we've been led astray or whatever we've done is beyond me.
Mr. Reynolds, how are you going to remodel the courtrooms and do all that without moving those people? Where are you going to put them?
Well, I have a good idea. You want to hear it? Judy Cook has more room if you'd use that corner down there where you're going to put the cafe and the Cadell building, more square footage. You got a little difference in the height, and that could have been adjusted. Than she would have had, and she would have been out of the way of the courtroom. You'd have had all that space up there where Judy Cook is to build a courtroom, and that's all we could have done. Then we could have got into all this other remodeling at another different time. That was what I suggested then. That's what I suggest. It's too late now, but they should be there now. That's where they should be.
Can I ask you where you're getting that 20,000? Because I'm coming up with a tad less than that, even if you add on. If I take this grand total and I leave out the 6336, you're still getting 20?
I'm getting 18,025.
Okay, that's what I'm getting, 18 something. Okay, plus the management fee. Okay, I got you. Well, I myself, I could live without new break room cabinets and sink, and without that additional office cabinetry in that added-on office space that wasn't planned. That's just me. I could live without item number 8 and item number 12.
And just tell you on item number 8, the alternative, so they can still use that room, would just be buy furniture to put in there and set her up with furniture in that room and not do the built-in cabinets. And then that cost goes away, but then the cost of the desk and whatever storage she's got goes onto the furniture that still get to be bought. So that's the other solution.
So we've got to buy a desk in there anyway?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's just an awful small room. What is that room, 8 by 8?
7 by 7.
7 by 7, and we are putting $3,000 worth of cabinetry in there. Just seems to me unnecessary.
I don't agree with it either, but say I'm just presenting what they requested.
Okay.
She laid out the cabinets that she wanted. You could put a desk in there and drop that $3,000. And we'll add whatever it costs to get a desk. And
you know, and I know it's you hate to not have everything new, but we wanted to build this on a budget. I think we did a nice job on a budget. I'm in favor of these things, especially the ones that were mandatory, and then the ones that will ultimately save us some money, those windows and those lights. I'm in favor of those.
Which one of those did you say, Judge?
I personally could do without item number 12 and item number 8. And that item number 8 was an area that was originally going to be a display area for some old leather-bound tax records, and they didn't really like the way that one of the work areas or one of the offices where there was going to be money counting going on had turned out. It was a long, narrow room, and they said, hey, could we move this person up here to this 7 by 7 display area? Well, Chris got that worked out, but now we want to put, you know, what I consider to be a fairly elaborate set of cabinetry in that 7 by 7 space, when probably a $500 desk would work fine. And then the new break room cabinets and sink, I think we can do without that either.
I'll make a motion, let's table this, and I'd like to look at it myself, some of these changes.
Well, the problem with that is it's going to hold up some of our work. If we're not going to do these windows, fine. If we're going to do these windows, what are the ones that are time critical, Chris?
Not including the bolded ones. Number 4 could wait, only because we can leave the tile that's there. It still works. It's just a matter of do you want it to match. So I would not recommend, it's just up to me. The floor tile's fine.
I'd like to at least match it all up myself.
Okay, then that one would go in.
That's me.
The tile could wait if y'all wanted to wait a couple of weeks, only because we're getting cabinets in. The cabinets go in before the tile comes in. The tile will be one of the last things that goes in. So that can wait. The windows need to happen soon, because we got cabinets going in, and the windowsills and all the woodwork goes in. The windows got to be done before that's done. The raising the height of the workstations to 42 inches needs to be done right now, because they're waiting on me to give a phone call out to court to say 42 inches or leave it the way it was, because he's starting to build the.
Is he gonna only build the one that we approve, and is that prototype going to be usable?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it'll be usable. It'll build one of the 9 and see if there's any changes they want to do, because they keep manipulating. Well, I want the drawer this wide, or I want a drawer over here, I want sliding doors over here. And I said, well, we're going to build one. I've listened to everything you said. We got one design. We'll build one. And then after we build that one, there'll be no more changes, because 1, we can't afford it, and 2, we can keep changing from here till eternity. Somebody's got to lock in on something. So I think number 7 would have to go. The lights could wait, because we're not going to put the ceiling in until later, so you could wait on the lights. And then the break room cabinets obviously can wait, because they don't have to go until the last evening. But if he was going to build them, he would build them when he's building the others. But he's going to be building cabinets for quite a while, for at least a couple of weeks. So.
Okay. Well, I've got a motion on the floor to table all of this. Is there a second? Okay. In absence of a second, is there anybody else want to throw out an idea?
Judge, I'd
is and the workstations that are critical as of right now.
I second.
How about you include in that the bold items that have already been done? Are you willing to do that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that would be a total of 5 items: the addition of the pass-through window, the rebuild and repair of the break room walls, the gas line moving, change out all of the windows, and increase the workstation to 4,200. Those 5 items, motion by Commissioner Parker. And are you okay seconding that?
Can I make
Is it 42 inches?
clarification?
Yes.
So we're talking about doing items 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, I left out that credit of 250, so.
Right. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor of, for now, approving items 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 as presented on this modifications request list. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, Chris, let's get that done tonight. Perhaps there will be another, if I can get together another subdivision workshop, perhaps we can vote on that before 2 weeks from now. Otherwise, it'll be 2 weeks. And, you know, for those of y'all that want to vote, that want to talk with Judy or go over and see any of this, are they working all this week over there where anybody can go over there and see this?
They're actually painting right now, and as of today, they had half of it painted.
Okay.
They'll be working on the tax and vehicle side tomorrow. Painting.
Okay. No tile work's going on yet?
Tile will be after they put in all the cabinets.
Okay.
We had the discussion about whether to put the cabinets on top of the tile or underneath it, or beside it. And everybody agreed to put the cabinets on the concrete and run the tile up to it.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Item number 7, consider and possibly approve. Okay. Ray, if you want to make your way up here, or if you'd like to rest there, I'll be glad to read what you have given me, which is plenty adequate. Why don't you sit there and we'll pass you a microphone if we need, if they have some questions. Okay, if you need to get up, come on up, come on up. As soon as we get our tape changed out, or our CD rather. Not working? Okay.
It has its moments.
Okay. All right. Item number 7, consider and possibly approve the donation of a retired vehicle from the sheriff's office to be used as a constable vehicle. And Constable Barrett, welcome. It's good to see you. Hope you're getting better every day. Didn't expect you to be here tonight, but thank you for showing up. Why don't I read this and then I'll let you comment on that. Dear Commissioners, I was advised by the sheriff that one of their older patrol cars was being taken out of service. He would like to donate it to our office if we need it. The vehicle needs a radio, siren speaker, new decals, and tools to remove the old decals. I've received quotes for the items needed and attached them. I drove the vehicle from last Friday until today. I noticed the steering pulling some to the right and the check engine light. Carried it to Billy Craig's wrecker service to be checked. Needs a front end alignment and the EGR valve needs to be replaced. This is an 08 Crown Vic, 169,000 miles. Been informed a lot of these are highway miles. Body, interior, other equipment installed have been taken very good care of. Seems to be in good working condition. The reason I'm asking for this vehicle is because I have 2 reserve deputy constables that each work 28 to 30 hours a week. Having only 1 patrol car for 2 deputies that work that many hours limits the amount of work we get done. With 2 patrol cars, they can separate and work on different tasks. New radio, $576. New graphics, $319. Removal tools for the old graphics, and they'll do the work, $98. New siren speaker, $150. Billy Craig's repair to the EGR valve and the front end alignment, $431. Grand total to get this vehicle suitable as a Constable 2 backup unit for his reserves, $1,575.20.
How much, Judge?
$1,575.20 are all those items that would get this vehicle suitable. And I did ask Ray to drive it over the weekend. He did that. He feels comfortable that despite the miles, this is a solid vehicle.
I'll second.
Make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Fields and second by Commissioner Riddle. All in favor of going ahead and transferring this vehicle to the constables and getting it up to snuff, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any other comments? Give us all an update on your status, how you're doing, and things like that.
Well, to start with, I'm extremely blessed by God to be still standing here.
Amen.
Everything's going pretty good. Finished up with my physical therapy last week. Now I'm just continuing in the gym on my own. Said I probably still had another year, maybe a little more than a year before all the muscles and everything healed back. But everything's good right now. Finally trying to walk some without the cane, so it's doing good. I appreciate everybody's prayers.
Thank you for making the effort. We appreciate you being here and presenting this.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Item number 8, got a brief pass-through report here. I'll give you from PTP. This is an email from Mark Heidecker today. Judge Lee, no doubt the rain has hampered the operations over the last couple of weeks, but work has continued. While the signal people were able to get all the wire pulled for the intersection of 271 and FM 4000, they still have a couple of more signals to complete. At the FM 1735 Cross Street, it was agreed in the meeting last week with James Construction and TxDOT that the fix for those potholes that we discussed out there that was in the asphalt, if you'll recall, the fix would be to remove the failing areas of asphalt, treat the base with 4% cement, and then place asphalt back in those areas. James has submitted the proposed fix. PTP has reviewed the submittal and will forward to the TxDOT area office and have Roger Ledbetter review and approve. This work is expected to start on May 4th, and there will be lane closures during the day with flaggers and such as needed, but for nighttime operations, they will open the lanes back up to traffic. We encourage the traveling public, please slow down through the construction zone, and hopefully with good weather we can have the fix completed within 7 to 10 days. With better weather conditions, James is trying to finish up the flex base operations the rest of this week, and if we can get a few good days of sunshine and the base dries back, they will try to get the prime coat placed on the surface. They continue to dress up the ditches and get all the ditches planted to take advantage of the rain. The signal crews, now that they have 271 complete, will move to other intersections and get those wrapped up as well. They are placing the bases for the signs and will be completing the installation of all small roadside signs in the upcoming days. So we had talked last meeting about having to possibly tear up all of that nice asphalt out there on 1735 and instead going back with a seal coat. But assuming they reach an agreement here on this proposed fix, the number of these failures are really fairly small, and hopefully they can just carve out those sections of the roadway, improve that base, and re-asphalt it so that we get back to a fully asphalted stretch there, 1.5 miles or so, whatever that is, on 1735. Anything to add?
The only thing from Home Depot to 271, they've got that. They're going to start type blading probably Thursday or Friday. And if they get it after they take the test on it, everything tests out okay, they'll put a seal on it. And once they get that seal on it, it'll be, if the temperatures, if we can get them 70-degree nights, then they can seal coat it. And they went all the way to the bridge. I believe that's right, isn't it, Jimmy? I think so. They got the road, what they call type blade. They get it and they test it to make sure it's packed the way it's supposed to. Because every so often they take a test on that. And then They're going to start from the bridge and I think go to 2348. They're going to remove that seal coating and then put new down and redo that, and then from 2348 over to 1735. So, you know, if we can catch some decent weather and catch some warm weather, I think we got a shot of maybe finishing. That was our report. We went Wednesday to the meeting, and that was some good things.
The only thing I'll add to that, Judge, is they said they were having a lot of trouble with traffic, local traffic on there, and the sheriff has been monitoring.
On where? Driving on the base?
On the base.
On the base.
And the sheriff is monitoring that, so they, he said they would be writing tickets.
Where's the particularly bad area where the general public is driving? Is it out there on the south end between 2348 and 1735, or where is it?
That's part of it. That's just the main section that the way they talked to us, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, was that section, and then the section out here from 271 to the apartments, when the other section that they said was the other, and they had a little bit across the overpass there, in the prefix area.
It's very tempting to take those new shortcuts, huh?
I checked it this morning. I didn't see anybody that had been on there. The barricades were up and everything, and I did go and talk to different people and stuff, and just tell them whatever they could do to help us to keep traffic off there. If you see a barricade down or something like that, let us know and we'll get it back up. So we're okay there.
Anything else? All right, moving along. Item number 9, consider and possibly approve the sale of Precinct 4 surplus equipment. Commissioner Parker.
I have got, y'all each should have a list of the things that I have put up for auction. We're going to put up for auction because of the excess that we've got out there. It's things that hadn't been used in several years. There's the 2 oil trucks haven't been registered even since 2006. The mixer, it's been 12 years since it was even used. There's no sense in that equipment and stuff sitting out there when somebody else in another county or somebody might could use it, and if we're not going to use it, there's no sense in it sitting out there. So I contacted Auctioneer Express, and they have come out. We've looked at everything, and they are ready to do this if y'all approve me to go ahead and do it.
And if y'all use any of this stuff?
I make a motion we sell it.
Motion by Commissioner Riddle to go ahead and give you the authority to get this stuff sold.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor of giving Commissioner Parker authority to proceed with the sale of these items listed on your inventory. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And there are none. Along with that, item number 10, consider and possibly approve beginning the bid process for 2 new tractors for Precinct 4. I think Commissioner Parker has given you bid specs for the piece of equipment like he's looking for.
The purpose of this, Judge, and Commissioners, is I've got the tractors that I've got. There are 2 of them that are 86 models. One of them is actually a 2006, but my guy's safety is more important to me than that newer tractor sitting there, and that's the reason I'm looking for 2 cab tractors for their safety as well as their health. And I would just like to be able to go out and see if I can find some tractors. I haven't completely thrown out the idea of used tractors if I can find 2 that are good enough to use what I need.
Ballpark price range of something like this is what?
Probably new, or probably gonna run somewhere around 36.
Have you considered a John Deere, or is there a reason you considered?
I just looked at a tractor out there. I happened to be out there getting a hose the other day and asked them while I was out there if about that. So I told them what I would want to do with it, and I will put it out for bid. So anybody, you know, I plan on checking on the different models. I'm not sold on any one model or make tractor. That's the size that I need.
You go to John Deere and they'll write him something up that'll meet that.
I think the specs will be the same.
Yeah, they will. He can put them together. You can get specs from John Deere and New Holland and stuff, and like so many, you want at least 75 horsepower. 75 horsepower. Any brand, just
yes. That's the reason that that's there, is that's the size that I need, and basically what I would like to see on the tractor. And I will let, you know, that will be in the bid as the specs right there.
It's been a while since we discussed leasing versus buying. Did we ever, has anybody ever researched that? Did you ever research that? What's your opinion of leasing versus buying?
Oh, it's a lot better for us to buy because of the usage. We don't get a lot of use
them that much.
That's right, and it really, yeah, I think that we come out a lot better. But the only one that we did was they leased that grader, motor grader, and we spent over $100,000 in lease in 3 years, and we bought one for $100,000 that'll last us 10 years. I don't know how we, you know, if we had a lot more usage, it would pay off to lease maybe, I think.
Questions or comments for Commissioner Parker?
If you buy these tractors, you're going to use them 20, 25 years, something like that. I've got some that's that old and still good shape.
At least there.
Yeah. And, you know, long term, you're going to
possibly longer.
And that's another reason that I have looked at new ones, is because you've got that warranty on there for, you know, for a while anyway. So that's another reason that I've looked at the new one. But I have not thrown out the idea. In fact, I got a call today on one that I'm probably going to go look at tomorrow. It's a used one down at Dangerfield.
They also, you get the government contracts.
Mm-hmm.
So
I make a motion we give Commissioner Parker the approval to begin the bid process.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton. Second by Commissioner Fields. All in favor of granting approval to begin the bid process for these two tractors, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Item number 11, consider and possibly approve the reappointment of Francis Neal to the Lakes Regional Mental Health and Mental Retardation Board of Trustees for a 2-year term. This is something we have to do every couple of years. Mrs. Neal has graciously agreed to serve for another term. We did post this both in the paper and on our bulletin boards. We did not get any inquiries on that. Grateful that Mrs. Neal is willing to continue in this capacity, and I would ask that we grant her that 2-year term.
Make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Fields, second by Commissioner Hinton to approve the reappointment of Francis Neal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item number 12, consider and possibly approve the establishment of the 76th to 76th Judicial Drug Court for Camp, Morris, and Titus counties as a drug court to enable it to provide services needed by the citizens of our county. I thought we had pretty well finished our role in this project, but according to Gilbert, with adult probation and our judges, we do need at this point this resolution signed by all members of the Commissioners Court. And let me read that to you. This is a specialty court resolution, a drug court. If you will recall, we talked about this about 6 months ago, and our district judges would operate this, but the drug court serves as an alternative to jail time for those that are addicted to drugs, and it provides some fairly successful techniques in dealing with those that continue to be in the judicial system over drug-related charges, and it gives them an opportunity for those that are sincere in their desire to get out of this lifestyle. It establishes some checks and balances in their lives to keep them accountable to the drug court. It's pretty cutting edge, and it's been quite successful in other counties. The cost to us was nothing. There is monies that has been provided, but nonetheless they need this resolution. So let me read this. Whereas the Commissioners of Titus County find it in the best interest of the citizens of Titus County that the 76th to 76th Judicial District Drug Court for Camp Morris and Titus counties be established as a drug court pursuant to Texas Government Code Chapter 121 or under former law, and whereas the Titus County Commissioners recognizes that this court has been or will be operational as of the first day of September 2015. Now therefore be it resolved that the Titus County Commissioners do authorize the establishment of the 76th to 76th Judicial District Drug Court for Camp Morris and Titus counties as a drug court to enable it to provide services needed by the citizens of our county. Motion by Commissioner Parker. Second by Commissioner Riddle to approve this specialty court resolution. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And that's unanimous. If I could get each of your signatures there on the appropriate line, leave one for me there, and then try to go in order there. Maybe put your precinct there alongside your name. Item number 13 is consider and possibly approve a bond for Christy Davis, our county auditor. Carl, why are we doing this now?
Well, first comes up in the middle.
Just at an odd time, okay. What's the cost on that bond? $250, something like that? Okay. Motion by Commissioner Fields to approve the bond for Christie. Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item number 14, consider and possibly approve travel and seminars. I understand we don't have any this month. That's unique. Item number 15, approve oral and written reports of county officials.
Make a motion to approve reports.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton for approval. Second by Commissioner Parker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item number 16, consider and possibly approve Treasurer's report. Thank you.
motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Motion by Commissioner Parker for approval. Second by Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item 17, approve budget amendments. None tonight. Item number 18, sign pay orders and approve payments.
Make a motion to pay our bills.
Motion by Commissioner Hinton.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Riddle. All in favor of approval of paying all the bills, say aye.
Aye.
Item number 19, closing comments. Let me begin by just giving everybody a little update on our workshop that we had a week and a half ago to discuss progress on subdivision regulations. And at that meeting, we had Clint Bain was in attendance, who served to give us an update on what his opinions would be the best way to design these regulations that would help him in enforcing septic systems, which is one of his main responsibilities. We also discussed road quality. Two of the things that I got out of that meeting, we also had Judy Kent in attendance that came and represented the realtors. Two of the significant items that I believe came out of that meeting were, I believe that the commissioners felt like we're going to implement some new rules that in a subdivision, even if that developer is thinking that that will remain a private road and that it will not have to be maintained by the county, that it would be best to make specific standards required for those roads that are going to be built, even if it is a private road, so that we don't end up in situations years down the way where we've got disappointed homeowners there that thought they had a good road and thought that the county commissioners were ultimately going to take care of that road. Let's get the road built right at the onset. The second thing had to do with lot sizes, and lot sizes are important in proper construction of a septic system. And correct me if I'm wrong, Lieutenant, if you would, but it was the recommendation of this group. Well, it was the consensus, I felt like, that lots now have a minimum size requirement of 1 acre. 1 acre, and while TCEQ requires what, a half an acre? Is that right?
It's a half acre if it's on an improved water system, 1 acre if it's on a well.
And we were thinking, based on your recommendations, that a good rule of thumb would be 1 acre across the board. That affects a house, that affects a trailer house, and that means that the days of the old trailer parks are over, or at least the design and construction of new trailer parks would be substantially different. There'd be a lot more real estate involved. But that would be in hopes that we would have septic systems that would not become overcrowded and result in some of the messes that we've got now. We seem to all be in agreement. Actually, we had Diana Kennedy and Judy Kent, as well as the commissioners. And so I felt like they were okay with that as well, with both of those, that 1 acre lot minimum was reasonable and that setting certain road standards would be appropriate. So we didn't finalize anything. We still have some more work to do. We have not had a meeting with the realtors to put all this stuff together, but those were two of the critical areas that I think are part of those new regulations. And if we are all in agreement and the realtors can live with that, I think that those would be two positive strides that we could make regarding road construction and lot size. So what are you all thinking about the next, did you want to say something?
I'll make a recommendation, if it's okay. I'll retype it with some of the changes, and I know that I don't have them all that we discussed the other day. And the current set of rules, and like there's some things, and then we'll have a a blueprint to go by and change again if we have another meeting? Would that?
As your starting point, were you thinking about using that Sulphur Springs
Yes.
document?
Yes,
Okay.
almost all of that.
Yeah.
And then the roads, the foundation, and then like the private roads, and then there's some little items like the 90-degree turns on underground.
Right.
I mean, minor things that was not in ours that we need to put in that. I think we conform with all of the stuff that Walt had. I think we can.
I think we can too. I think we can too. Do you all, I appreciate the offer. Do you think we need to meet one more time?
Yeah, I'd like, well, I don't know, would it be necessary? I'll do it and then give it to each commissioner and y'all all look at it and mark on it, and then we can start again if
we
I don't
need to,
know.
we can call a meeting.
Then I think
Well, I think we'll need to, at some point, definitely
Yeah.
call a meeting to look it over. I think we ought to go through that and be sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, but if we could have something to work with and all of us make our notes before the meeting, it would sure save a lot of time. I don't know if that would be illegal or violation of Open Meeting Act or not, but I'll get it typed. I'll type it up and.
Do you have that? Do you have that document in Word format?
I can email it to y'all, or to y'all again.
It'd be a lot easier to start with that document than. Well, I appreciate you finding that document. That was a Sulphur Springs document that really was quite good. I think it, you know, it had a lot of the things we were looking for without some of the burdensome verbiage of the original document that we started with. And it sounds like we're not as far apart from what Walt Sears said we needed to have as that document. And I'm not aware of any other real significant sticking points there. So I'm hoping we can come to a consensus on that fairly soon.
This is a question, do we have, I mean, I would think we should probably, after we decide, meet with the realtors
Yes.
and let them
Absolutely.
jump, you know, they might have some good ideas.
Absolutely. That's all I had. Commissioner Riddle, Commissioner Fields.
There was some things said here tonight, and I won't be sure, but I'm going back and look at the minutes and what was done. When we were talking about the building over here, and I don't remember exactly what was said or what was voted on, but I will go back and look at that. And I think I supported Judy's office being in that corner, but I want to go back and make sure for sure. And I'll do that and report, give you a copy of all of you a copy of it.
Commissioner Hinton?
I have nothing to.
Commissioner Parker? All right. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Motion and a second. Commissioner Parker and Commissioner Hinton. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, everyone, for your attendance tonight.
I'll get word to them. And where is it they're coming out now? Yeah. Gray car and a maroon truck. Okay.
2,500.
Hey, man.
Anytime they open that way station,
I'm working on that deal. But I think we're going to be better off to wait till school starts back. Because I've talked to some of them, and they like the idea of it. I think we're going to
127 going up just when you get to
well, and what I want to do, I want to have them in court. The day that we do this, I want to have all FFA officers, 4-H leaders, and their officers, and the college, you know, they're a bunch, I want to have state court that day. Oh, I think it will too, and they all like the idea. I've got to get back with Faustine. She wasn't in the day I went up there to see her, and it was going to be pushed to try to get it on this one, and the 4-H is already shut down until
Appreciate all the work you do.
You know, fall till August. And so I said, okay, let's not rush this. Let's do it then, and I have no problem.
I've seen them sitting out there. I mean, it's, I've got no problem with it. Mine's grounded.
Of course. Mine is too. My radishes, there, one of them's turning yellow. I've got so much water. What I have been toying with is making a week in the fall, like 1st of September, middle of September, FFA, 4-H, college agriculture week. Hey, do what? You what? What?
That's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it.
That's not it. Don't.
But